Merry Christmas, everyone, and as you can tell, I am back outside for a change. The sky is cleared up after several days of rain and being just overcast. It was even overcast today, and it's still definitely cloudy, but we actually got some sunlight going on. There's mist and fog all over the place, and it's about 70 degrees outside in New England. Oh man, climate change is wreaking us havoc, but you know what? After last year, which the East Coast got hammered last year, by just cold weather and snow, just awfulness, I'm not going to complain. So, for God's sake, I'm not wearing a jacket. You would not be able to tell it's not December. You would not be able to tell it's December out here. You'd think it's like April, almost going into May weather right now. It's amazing. Point being, though, we're talking about Christmas. It's near Christmas, so I felt that our Who Would Win this week should be Christmas themed. And there was two ways I could have gone this route. I went with the more safe option than the other option. And it's Santa. It's the Killer Kringle himself, Santa Claus, versus the Krampus, the shadow of St. Nick, as he's been called. Now, for this, I had to figure out which versions of the Krampus and Santa Claus I was going to pit against each other. Because there's been many different interpretations that we've seen. And especially with Santa, there's been too many to count. So I had to pick the ones that'd be really good in the fight. And I decided to pick the Krampus that we recently just saw in the movie Krampus versus Santa Claus from Rise of the Guardians, old St. Nick himself. So for this fight, they will be having access to their entire arsenal, whatever physical features they may have, whatever abilities they may have, and whatever helpers they may have to aid them. So we'll start with St. Nick himself. Now, St. Nick, Santa Claus, in Rise of the Guardians, we don't know how old he is. We know he was not around since the dawn of time or anything like that. What we do know is that he's a big guy, probably over 6 feet tall. Actually pretty physically strong, too. He's a Russian heavy-duty Santa. He's got tattoos on his forearms. He speaks with a Russian accent. He's Alec Baldwin. And he's a very jolly, very friendly individual. He loves his job, he loves kids, all that. He loves making them happy. Well, he's also very protective of children and will go to arms quickly like that. He's got Yetis that help him, and the Yetis are awesome because they're Yetis. So he's got an army of Yetis, which aren't really elves. The elves are there, but they don't do much. He moves with special snow gloves he breaks in their teleportation devices. So he can basically go anywhere he wants by breaking a snow glove. I'm assuming he has probably like an infinite amount of snow gloves. That's how he does what he does in one night, more or less. At least in this world. He's also a highly skilled swordsman. Dual-wielding dual cutlasses. And that's what they look like. And skilled enough to take on shadow horse nightmare things. And as well as Pitch Black himself, the boogeyman. Yeah, excuse me. And so he's highly skilled in that. Now, his primary weakness in terms of a character, and it's the primary weakness of basically all of the characters in The Rise of the Guardians, is that if the faith and belief in them starts to wane, so does their power. If less and less people believe in them, they will cease to exist, or more or less just be invisible to the world. Now, I don't see that coming in as a play very much, because if you believe in Krampus, you believe in Santa Claus. And there's no way Krampus is going to, somehow prevent people from believing in Santa, I don't believe. But you look at all of his tech. He's got toys too that you can use to help, but normally the toys don't help him that much. The Yetis are big burly guys. They will fight to the end. They're big, strong dudes. His reindeer, it's actually, if I remember correctly, reindeers, his sleigh's doesn't use reindeer, if I remember correctly. Like, hold on one second. I'm just going to double check that real quick. Rise of the Guardians, Santa's sleigh. That'd be an interesting, Jeff Goldberg, in Santa's sleigh, is now Rise of the Guardians, Santa's sleigh. This is where Santa goes fucking evil. Let's see, Rise of the Guardians. Ooh, there we go. Rise of the Guardians. Santa's sleigh. Ooh, not that sleigh. Sleigh. Alright, what did his sleigh look like again? Because if he has reindeer, that could add some. Oh yeah, he does have reindeer. Okay, I remember that now. And in fact, yeah, now I completely remember that sequence where they first take off. Yeah, and he's got some. These aren't your average reindeer either. I mean, they're never average. They fly, for God's sake. But I just want to make sure I'm not lagging as I'm talking. You look at these reindeer. These are some heavy-duty looking reindeer. These are real caribou elk-style reindeer. These are reindeer that could probably kick your ass reindeer. So he's got those things going for him as well. But again, he's got the magic of snow globe. Not only can he teleport himself and transform himself, he can do it with others. So he could use it as a diversionary tactic if he had to. He's... Again, skilled swordsman, probably good hand-to-hand combat too. He can probably throw a good punch. And he's just an all-around nice, jolly guy who loves to protect kids. So in terms of the Santa Clauses I felt would be good for this comparison, I chose this Santa. And that's our Santa, Rise of the Guardian Santa. Now going with the Krampus we got, there's going to have to be some assumptions going on with his abilities. Now this Krampus stands far taller than even St. Nick does. This Krampus is at least, again, I'm going to just get sorry, 1 second, there we go. Going to get the Krampus picture out of here. This Krampus stands at least, 8 feet, 9 feet tall? Krampus movie. All right, so Krampus, images for the Krampus. Krampus. There we go. So let's see. Comparing him to the kid that he's basically standing next to. It's actually that's hard to base on because the kid was about 12, give or take, 10 or 12 in the movie, the main kid. So he's probably a good 4.5 feet easy, maybe even 5 feet. If I'm judging him, and you'll forgive me, I'm using my finger, judging him how I'm viewing this on this picture right here, Krampus at his tallest, not including his horns, is probably about 7 feet tall, give or take. So he's got a good foot over St. Nick. And he's designed as the Krampus is. He's always got the hooves, he's got the horns. He doesn't have a tail, but he carries a chain that he uses to great effect. And his face is like a demonic Santa, where it just his tongue and all that. And but I still don't understand why his mouth was just like that the rest of the movie. Check my Krampus review if you want more on that. He's still got a good design and everything like that. He's also an extremely swift individual. We see him just flying over rooftops in the movie. With ease, just running like he does this on a yearly basis. Like, yep, this is what I do. This is how I roll. He's physically strong enough to grab a kid who probably weighs at least, let's see, at his age, again, 10 to 12, he probably weighs about 100 pounds, give or take. Given his size, I would go to, well, maybe not 100. It's hard to tell because he's a skinny kid, too. He doesn't look very heavy. But he's old. He looks at that around that age where... let's just go for sake of 100 pounds. So he can let the 100-pound kid, with no effort whatsoever, just hold him over things. By the way, I should stop right now if you haven't seen the movie Krampus. There are spoilers for the movie Krampus in this. I should have made that very clear when using this Krampus. For obvious reasons. I'll put it in the description too that there's spoilers for the Krampus in there. But that being said, yeah, there's spoilers. His ability to, I don't know if he's got a teleportation apparition ability, but his ability to move back and forth between places is very, very good. Can move like that. He's also capable of, the minute that he's summoned, it is almost instantaneous. He literally brings a blizzard with him. Basically, wherever the Krampus goes, a blizzard, and I mean a blizzard, like you will die in this weather, blizzard will happen. So he's got weather manipulation abilities as well. Now, he's very good at catching people with his chain. The chain is very useful, probably as a melee weapon as well if you were to get into some sort of fight, which the only one you can fight really is Santa Claus, I assume. He's scary as hell, basically, and he can open a gateway to the underworld. Again, this is where the spoilers came in. Again, I warned you about spoilers before I got to this point. He can open a gateway to the underworld, toss you in there, and you get... I won't spoil the ending of Krampus, but let's just say that bad stuff happens if you go into the underworld. So that's the Krampus alone. Now, his helpers are much more varied than Santa. Santa has the Yetis, and he has very derpy elves. Krampus has elves. that are far larger than the elves this Santa has, and far more demonic and violent than this Santa has. He has gingerbread men who will also try to kill you with nail guns or a pointed candy cane. Whatever works for you, man. Whatever works for you. He has a teddy bear with freaking Jaws bladed teeth, metal teeth like Jaws, the villain from James Bond. So, and that can tear a good chunk out of you. Which might still be the things you see under the ground or don't see under the ground. We're not going to count the graboid thing because fair is fair. I'm certain that between the Yetis and Santa they can take out whatever the under the ground thing was. Then he has this demonic little toy angel, which is just, I will attack you. Then, of course, they have this little robot thing where, he's a little robot. He attacks you with little robot stuff. And then the Jack-in-a-Box, which swallows children and basically anything else that gets in there. Oh, God. That thing was definitely creepy. But it's also very slow, too. It's not a fast-moving thing. And it's designed to capture, not kill. So there's that. Now, in terms of defeating these the Krampus and his minions, or in terms of just give me 1 second, adjusting that. In terms of basically identifying what their weakness is, to be fair, it's not. It's not the type of movie where you can identify the weakness of the character in terms of the Krampus. Because we think maybe he does have a heart. No, he doesn't have a heart. He doesn't have a heart. What it is basically proven is that he's got multiple minions, like multiple gingerbread men, teddy bears, toys, all those things. He's got multiples of those guys. So if you're to kill one, it'll just replace by another one. It's probably the same with the elves. But that being said, you can kill these things. They may be magical or demonic or something, but you can kill them. They blow the brains out of the teddy bear at one point. They shoot the angel dead. You can kill these things, which I'm going to say you could kill Krampus. I'm going to say that because Krampus is never actually attacked in this movie. So, again, yeah, I already said there will be spoilers. I'll put spoilers for Krampus again on the title. So don't complain at me that I'm spoiling it. I warned you ahead of time. In fact, I warned you ahead of time before I even got to this point. So you can probably kill Krampus. He's just never meets anyone who can challenge him physically or actually try to, because he'll normally fuck people up before they'll ever get a chance to hurt him. So that's Krampus. All right. So how does this fight take place? Well, this fight takes place the way you'd think this fight entirely takes place. Krampus is visiting, Santa is visiting, and they cross paths. And for the sake of this argument, we're going to have to say that they know about each other. In fact, they probably have met on several occasions. And it's like, Krampus, what are you doing here? This person is not on naughty list. And then Krampus, just doesn't give a rat's ass. So, it's like, we take this outside now. And Krampus moves, and then they just squat off. It's like, you have done this for too long, Krampus. My Alec Baldwin Russian Santa impression, everyone. He's great. He's nice. No, that's not Russian. That's Borat. Oh, Merry Christmas to you all. It's to me, Borat. Oh, God. Anyway, I digress. So Santa will probably square up, bring out his swords, and go for Krampus. Krampus, Santa, by the way, is also fairly agile, and he can travel from chimney to chimney like that. He can somehow teleport himself from chimney to chimney because he's magical that way. He could keep up with Krampus by going chimney to chimney from the rooftops, but Krampus is just far faster than Santa is. So Krampus, if trying to get away or just trying to outmaneuver Santa, could probably outmaneuver Santa in that regard. Then he brings out the chains, and the fight starts kind of ensuing. Now, between how well he can use the chain, we don't know how well he can use the chain in this movie because he uses it more as catching children than an actual tool for fighting. But we led to assume he could probably use it whip them and get someone and maybe just bring him in. Santa would probably avoid the chain for a while, try to get in close with his swords. Krampus would again probably... Sorry, I thought I saw something. Krampus would probably catch him with a chain at one point and, get his arm. Santa probably reel Santa in. Santa would come in with the blade, maybe cut Krampus. Krampus would slug him. Krampus, I'm probably going to say, is actually the physically stronger of the two of them, just because he's got size on Santa Claus. He does. He does have size on Santa Claus. And he can, again, lift the kid up, who probably weighs between 90 and 100 pounds with one hand with no problem whatsoever. Meaning he could probably, with one arm, lift a couple 100 pounds, no problem. Not saying that Santa couldn't do that either. We just don't see enough feats to suggest that he could. Unless we'd ever get a sequel to suggest that maybe he can lift stuff like a keg of, eggnog over his shoulder. Which, why would you have eggnog in a keg? Oh, anywho, so they'll probably be pretty evenly matched in terms of physical strength. Those Krampus will probably have this physical edge. Santa would probably actually be the faster in terms of a close quarter combat because he's a sword. He can fight. He's a swordsman, so he's more inclined for close combat. But Krampus would definitely want to get distance and definitely have his minions try to go forth and attack. However, the difference between his minions and Santa's is very great. The only minions he has that could really pose Santa any problems are probably the elves, because they're larger and more of them than, say, the toy ones. But that's when Santa throws down some orbs and the Yetis come through to attack and beat the crap out of these guys. So Krampus is going to be put into a corner at that point. Santa comes. Krampus is probably the only way out is to open the underworld portal and then see if he can get Santa to go in it. And they'll tussle for a while. It's going to come down to who's going to want it more and who's going to basically be able to throw because I don't know what would happen if Krampus goes down, thrown into his own portal to the underworld. I would think that'd be a hilarious alternate ending to that movie. He's just, I can't, I'm not going to spoil the ending. I spoiled enough. I'm not spoiling the ending. The ending of the Krampus is pretty good, actually. So if I were to say, and this is not to sound biased towards Christmas or anything like that, Santa, because he wants to protect children more than Krampus, who just wants to be an evil dick and punish people, he's probably going to end up beating, especially because he's got the Yetis' help, who's probably, even though the elves might swarm the Yetis are just physically stronger than the elves, and probably smarter than the elves too, because they're the ones that build the toys in that universe. So they can probably outmatch the elves pretty quickly. And then take on whatever that underground under the snow thing is. Again, if it's the bear, it's the bear. If it's not, it's not. If it's the bear, then yeah, I don't see them having that much issue. And then the Yetis come, and they all basically just beat the crap simultaneously out of the Krampus. Krampus falls into the underworld. So, but does that mean Krampus can't win? It's hard to say. I can't think of a scenario where the Krampus. I mean. If he, snags Santa's hands with the chain at one point, wraps like this, if he can't get a snow globe, he can't call for help. Then he'll just drag Santa to his underworld pit and throw him in there. So I suppose that's possible. But at the same time, it is possible. But Santa's also pretty physically strong himself. So while Krampus might be the stronger, Santa's going to give him a real run for his money. And Santa's probably smart enough to try to reworks the situation in his favor, where I'll be like, okay, he's pulling me towards him, he gives one good strong yank, I go with the yank, and I barrel into him, get my hands free. So that's a very plausible scenario. This Santa's a fighter, too. The Rise of the Guardian Santa is a pretty strong fighter. But also, we got to factor in the weather conditions, because Krampus brings in the blizzard. But, yet again, Santa lives in the North Pole in Russia. He's a Russian Santa, so he's used to heavy weather conditions. He can fight in the weather, I'm certain. It might hinder him to the degree we see in the movie, the kind of weather, but I don't think it would stop him enough for Krampus to get any clear victory. So, with the margin that if he's able to throw him into the underworld before Santa can bum rush him for the chains, or hell, maybe he's even strong enough to break the chains. Who knows? Break the chains that bind him. I can't say for certain. I don't know why I did the accent just there. I just did that. Don't you judge me! Anyway. So besides maybe a 5% margin of the Krampus getting that really weird kind of 1 in 5, that really weird 1 in 20 win, it's Santa Claus. Santa from Rise of the Guardians wins this fight pretty much hands down, just because he has far more... I can't say he has far more resources. His resources just have a superior effect as opposed to the Krampus's resources. Because the Krampus's resources aren't meant for a fight, except for maybe the elves and maybe even the teddy bear. Yeah, they're not meant for an actual fight. They're meant to just fuck with people and basically capture kids and hurt people, more or less. They're not meant for an actual fight. The elves could fight for a while, but the Yetis are freaking Yetis. So, yeah. Then Santa, I think, just has probably more combat experience than the Krampus, even though Krampus is said to have been around longer, which doesn't make any sense. That is one line. He's like, he is the shadow of Saint Nick, but he's more ancient than Saint Nick. And then they explain in the movie, he's more ancient than Saint Nick. He's the shadow of Saint Nicholas. He can't be the shadow of Saint Nicholas. For him to be the shadow of Saint Nicholas, and I know I'm going on a rant real quick. I don't even know if I brought it up in the review, but still. If for him to be the shadow of Saint Nicholas, Nicholas had to have been born, Santa Claus had to have been brought into this world, and then he cast the shadow as soon as the sun gazed on him, and then the Krampus was born. That's the way that logic works, the way you're describing it, and that's not how that works. Anyway, still though, Santa wins this bout almost whole-handedly. Again, a 1 in 20 scenario, Krampus wins by some weird stipulation. But, yeah, I picked them because they seem the best bets for this. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below, let us know, we'll do a review of it at some point. So I got one more video to do today, and that'll be it for the evening. Until Christmas, where I get to review the Deadpool trailer tomorrow, and probably a movie at some point. I might do a Star Wars video. I'll consider that when I'm done with the Deadpool TV spot review. But until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, whatever you celebrate, but Merry Christmas to all of you who enjoy Merry Christmas. That's all I'm going to say. Merry Christmas. So I'll be back in just a